I am doing a much overdue review of a beer from Idle Hands brewery I've been drinking for a long time. But for some reason I just never did a video review. I guess they were small, and for a while they didn't even have a brewery. They were guest brewing at night shift, and they had kind of a shuffle of brewers a couple years ago. But for the past few years, in their new spot with a new brewer, I think his name is Brett Bauer. I've met him once or twice. He's been doing awesome things with their IPAs and their new funky sour program. So I've got something that's going to be actually really rare. I guess it's kind of dumb doing a review of this because they're not going to make this in 2019 or 2020 because they didn't get any contracts for Galaxy hops. But it's Galaxy 4-Seam. 4-Seam is their standard IPA. Usually is double dry hop with Citra. This time they did it with Galaxy. This is canned 3 days ago. Extremely fresh. I did actually have the last batch, and I looked at my Untappd review and I was like, getting tired of Galaxy. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited for this one. It looks really, really good. It's 6.6% alcohol. There's no info on the malt bill, but probably some flaked barley or wheat or oats or something thrown in there in addition to regular old two-row barley malt. And I guess I'm not totally sure if it's single hop. I don't think it is. They don't advertise it as that. They just talk about the dry hop being all Galaxy. So maybe they use some Columbus or something like that in the kettle. But let's just jump into this. Very hazy, very pale. Just about all of their New England IPAs have looked like this. Their 6-Seam double IPA is pretty highly regarded. I think the batch that I got I was a little bit underwhelmed with. This is smelling really good. Yeah, so Idle Hands, it seems like they're able to get some extra creamy, fruity qualities out of their hops. And I often find Galaxy to be a little bit too green and not as sweet for my taste. And the head's looking really nice in the glass. I think they've really figured out how to do this stuff. But they do have an ever-changing IPA series called Change Up, where they've done some really cool stuff, like a Motueka-focused one that was really good. I guess a lot of their beers, you could compare them to Trillium in terms of the hops they're using and everything, but just a slightly different yeast strain. Yes, big on the Galaxy, but it's extra tropical. It's got that menthol eucalyptus thing, but there's plenty of pretty ripe tropical. I usually get unripe tropical notes from Galaxy, but it's smelling pretty pineapple-y and peachy. Yeah, that's really nice with a little bit of a sweet cream note. Yeah, and you can definitely notice the double dry hopping. They don't advertise it as double dry hopped, but that's just how they always do it with this one. I'm assuming that they do some part of it is dry hopping during fermentation. Maybe they didn't do some after fermentation. Not sure if it's all during fermentation. But this beer is looking really, really nice. Super opaque, really, really, really hazy, but very bright, not brown or murky looking. Nice mouthfeel. Finish is super clean. Very juicy. Some nice creamsicle notes. Yeah, it's not too dry and green like I often get from Galaxy. It still packs in some creamsicle notes like I often get from beers like this that feature Citra. But then there's a pineapple peach. But it's really creamy. It's big on vanilla. I'm getting vanilla wafers. A little bit of a cotton candy type thing, not quite bubblegum. Mouthfeel isn't that big, I guess, for 6.6 and seeing how hazy it is. That's what some people might want, is a bigger mouthfeel, but it does have some sweetness. But it isn't exactly super duper soft and full. Yeah, the sweet flavors linger on the palate, but after the first sip or two, it's mostly dry. But it's weird because I kind of was expecting it to be a little bit more dry. Yeah, the mouthfeel is not. It's but about medium for the style maybe. Though it is only 6.6. The popular thing to do these days is to call it 6.6% hazy hoppy beer like this, a pale ale like Trillium does, and Toppling Goliath, they raised the ABV of their Pseudo Sue Pale Ale, now it's 6.8. So if they wanted, they could have called this a pale ale, and then people would be like, "Oh my gosh, it's so good for a pale ale." But it's really an IPA. Something like this, I definitely would call it. If it's that much of an explosion of hop flavors, and it's really over 6%, you got to call it an IPA. Yeah, big green galaxy on the nose. But this is one of these hazy IPAs that it's like, is there really barley malt in this? And I'm just getting all these hot flavors and creamy flavors and juicy flavors, and it's like, I don't even taste exactly any grains. Yeah, it's amazing. If you're a fan of Trillium, I would definitely highly recommend Galaxy 4CM. I guess if you like Galaxy Fort Point or Congress Street, you definitely like this beer quite a bit. And if you like their Citra beers, then you like the regular 4CM a lot. But this is definitely a good alternative to buying Trillium beers, which I don't know if anyone's heard the controversy. Maybe you don't want to until they start having better business practices, paying their employees more. It seems like the employees at Idle Hands are pretty happy. And the only thing I would dock this for is the mouthfeel isn't really soft and creamy. But it's not watery. It's still got some nice density to it. But I think most people wouldn't necessarily describe this beer as smooth, but it has really great flavors and aromas, and no off flavors, nothing weird. Really nicely balanced. I love the creamy flavor, the vanilla-like flavors, sweet spicy stuff going on. Almost, I don't want to say nutmeg, but I do want to say nutmeg. Maybe I could start talking about like eggnog. I have had a quote-unquote eggnog IPA that was not very good, but I'm sure if Idle Hands tried to make one, they'd do a good job. This is at least a 4.25 for me. If you need a super thick, sweet mouthfeel because you can't taste beers very well, which is that's what a lot of beer drinkers, I realize. They want a big explosive flavor and a big mouthfeel. If you don't get that, then they're not going to really think the beer's that great. But this beer is really great, even though it's not like I'm actually drinking a milkshake or anything like that. So yeah, close to 4.5. Very nice beer. It's going to be available for the next few days, maybe at the brewery and a couple places around town, but it's going to be gone real soon. And not available probably for 2 years or 3 years. But that's all I have to say.